Jerusalem, the holy city. It was a place of grandeur and sorrow. Jesus, a man of peace, walked its streets. He taught in its temple, yet he foresaw its doom. Jesus knew the city would face destruction. He wept for its people. Their hearts had turned away from God. They rejected his message of love and redemption. The consequences would be dire. Jesus' prophecy was a lament. He saw the suffering to come. The destruction of Jerusalem was not just a physical event, it was a spiritual crisis. The city, once favored by God, would face his judgment. The Roman Empire held sway over Judea. Tensions simmered between Rome and the Jewish people. Rebellions flared up. Rome sought to crush any resistance. The stage was set for a confrontation. In 70 AD, the Roman army, led by Titus, besieged Jerusalem. The city was a fortress, but the Romans were relentless. The siege would last for months. Inside the city walls, fear and despair grew with each passing day. God had been patient with his people. He sent prophets to warn them. He offered them chances to turn back to him, but they refused to listen. They clung to their own ways. Their hearts hardened. The prophets spoke of righteousness and justice. They called for repentance. Their pleas fell on deaf ears. The people of Jerusalem had forgotten their covenant with God. They faced the consequences of their actions. Strange events filled the sky. Unnatural phenomena sparked fear in the hearts of men. These were not mere tricks of the light. They were omens. The universe itself seemed to be warning them. Inside the temple, disturbances shook the very foundation of their faith. These signs were undeniable. They pointed to the coming destruction, yet many refused to see. They clung to false hope. Section 5. The siege begins. The Roman siege tightened its grip. Jerusalem was cut off from the outside world. Food and water became scarce. Hunger stalked the streets. The inhabitants faced a desperate struggle for survival. Internal conflicts erupted within Jerusalem's walls. Factions fought amongst themselves. Their unity crumbled in the face of adversity. The city was tearing itself apart from within. Section 6. Through the ashes, the Romans breached the city walls. They swept through Jerusalem with brutal efficiency. The Second Temple, the heart of Jewish faith, was set ablaze. Its destruction was a devastating blow. Thousands perished in the fighting. The streets ran red with blood. Those who survived faced a grim fate. Many were sold into slavery. Jerusalem, once a beacon of hope, lay in ruins. Section 7. Echoes of the past. The destruction of Jerusalem serves as a stark reminder. It echoes through history. It speaks of the consequences of rejecting God. When we turn away from his love, we invite suffering into our lives. The events of 70 AD hold spiritual significance. They remind us that there are consequences for our choices. When we ignore God's warnings, we do so at our own peril. Section 8. A time for vigilance. We must learn from the past. We must be vigilant in our own time. Are we heeding the warnings in our lives? Are we living in accordance with God's will? These are questions we must ask ourselves. The universe is constantly teaching us. We must be prepared to learn. We must be prepared to change. The future depends on the choices we make today. Section 9. The universe remembers. The destruction of Jerusalem was a tragedy. But it was not the end. It marked a new chapter in human history. It reminds us that even in the face of devastation, hope remains. The universe remembers. It holds the echoes of the past. It whispers of lessons learned and forgotten. We must listen to its stories. We must strive to create a better future. We must never forget.